What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I'm the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the man, the Sneider himself, over there, fresh off his vacation to the Beantown land there in Boston. It is Jeff Sneider. How are you, Jeff?
I'm good, John. I'm here. I survived. I made it.
Yeah.
Great time. A great time back in Boston, seeing my family. My brothers, Johnny and Jordan, and their wives and their kids, my beautiful nieces, spending time with Big Daddy.
Yeah. What?
I lost a few LBs. Not as many as I veered. I started strong, John. And then
I heard you lost 7 pounds. You tweeted about this.
Right. In the end, it was 5. I couldn't sustain what I was doing. It was really that I gave up on the walking. I just got too busy, socially.
It's amazing. Walking really takes no time at all. Like, there's no preparation. You don't have to stretch out. You just start walking. But it's amazing how in your mind it becomes something monumental to do, even though you'd walk an hour to get a story. In your mind, walking to go for leisure or for losing weight, it's tough to do. But I'm trying to make myself walk at 7 a.m. in the morning.
You gotta walk fast. You can't walk. You gotta fast walk.
Oh, sure, of course. Well,
it gets your heart rate up. That's what my dad always tells me.
Well, you don't got to do that nonsense. But you can walk for sure. Yeah, with pace. Yeah, with purpose, one might say. Yeah, for sure. We're back here. We're a day later than usual this week, all because of some of the travel plans with Jeff. But we kind of had to figure out what was the best time, and this is the best time. So thank you all so much for joining us here live on the Hot Mic. We got a lot to get to. It's been a week full of entertainment news and drama and controversy. We're going to talk about it all here. Some David Zaslav news. Did he or did he not make a deal with a GQ editor? Ryan Murphy possibly suing the Writers Guild of America. Jennifer Garner's Elektra coming back to be in Deadpool 3. We've also got some drama with Britney Spears, some entertainment news, some MI7 first reviews. I'm sure Jeff and I will have our thoughts on that, and so much to get into here. And Jeff's even got some stories that I don't even know what he's going to drop on us. So it's going to be a fun grab bag show for sure. Remember, StreamLabs and SuperChats are open. You love the show. You love hearing us talk about this stuff unfiltered and raw. Send in your support through StreamLabs or Super Chats. Pinned in the chat. It's in the description of the video. It's right above Jeff's head as well for StreamLabs and Super Chats. Y'all know what to do. All right, Jeff, where are we going to start, man? You want to start with Ryan Murphy? You want to start with one of your scoops? What do you feel?
I got no scoops.
You got no rumors, nothing? Okay.
I have things I can add context to and little minor updates, but nothing I would headline the show with.
All right, fair enough.
With the news that our good pal Boris Kitt just broke.
Oh, yeah. That is that Jennifer Garner is returning as Elektra in Deadpool 3. This is big news. This was followed up by one of the other accounts claiming that also Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart will be reprising their roles as Magneto and Professor X in Deadpool 3. Hugh Jackman already in Deadpool 3. Somewhere James Marsden and Famke Janssen and Halle Berry are like, what the fuck, son? What the fuck? So Jennifer Garner coming back, and it's been 20 years. You want to age yourself. It's been 20 years since she played Elektra there for Marvel Studios before it was the MCU. So not really in canon, but Sean Levy's in the director's chair with this project. And remember, Sean Levy worked with Jennifer Garner and Ryan Reynolds in that Adam Project film as well. And remember, Jennifer Garner was with Mark Ruffalo in was it 13 going on 30? So she's got a lot of exposure to the MCU actors, but now she's back. And of course, Ben Affleck was her Daredevil. And there've been a lot of rumors that Ben Affleck's going to reprise that role in Deadpool 3 as well. Jeff, does this feel cool? Or after we've seen the Flash box office crash and burn, after we've seen Multiverse of Madness be not liked by a lot of MCU fans, the universe, the multiverse thing, is it starting to feel like maybe this is getting to be tired instead of cool and exciting? What are your thoughts on this?
Leave it to Hollywood to take a good thing and run it right into the ground. That's not what I'm saying is happening here, though. I think that this does sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Flash was flawed, but it was a good movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Overall, that first half was quite good.
Yeah.
But you're right. The multi, you can't just make everything multiverse. What a multiverse means to me is no stakes.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And it's like that is the opposite reason of why people go to the movies.
Yeah.
They go to see stories with stakes.
Yeah.
So it just seems like a fundamental miscalculation that points to basically, again, this goes back to who is making movies.
Yes.
Not filmmakers. It's executives.
Right.
It's people who go to Harvard Business School. Okay. Or let's say they even go to like films, whatever. There's a lot of great executives. Yeah. They got those jobs by answering the phone.
Right. Sure.
That's the truth. They were assistants, and I'm sure they did a lot more than answer the phone.
They learned the business. Some of them. Yeah.
When I was in my early 20s, I was at Blumhouse, and I if I had hung around, I could have been one of the guys who got to answer the phone. I remember I was like not even allowed to touch the phone. I'd had to touch the phone once or 1 or 2 days, and I remember it being a nightmarish experience. So like I get you can't be an idiot.
No, right.
But at the same time, it's basically the people like when you were in elementary school, they got A's because they overdid their, like the posters had glitter and things were beautifully colored. And it didn't really speak to like their intelligence at all, other than just like their work ethic.
Right.
And obviously you have to have great work ethic in Hollywood, but I just think fundamentally there's so many executives who it's like, they don't even watch movies. They don't watch movies. They don't care about movies. They don't like movies. They just happen to make movies.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is interesting because look, I love Jennifer Garner. Always have enjoyed her since Alias. I liked 13 Going on 30. That last thing he told me, the film on Apple TV Plus, apparently was one of the big films they had this year in terms of views. So certainly is she someone who is still very much in the public eye. Obviously, her relationship with Ben Affleck, considering how much he's in the public eye, and of course her connection with Jennifer Lopez because of that relationship. So all of that, there's a lot here with Jennifer Garner. Plus, on her social media, she's very active on her social media, both Twitter and Instagram, doing her thing. She goes and does a lot of charity work for causes. So she's not someone who was in a movie 20 years ago and they're unearthing her to bring her back to play this role again. She's very much been consistently working since that time, even though that Elektra movie was pretty much roundly panned, and rightfully so. People liked her performance overall, but it was early 2000, Jeff. This is like Alias time. This is a different Elektra than we got in the Daredevil series. So do you this is all going to be done for laughs, right? I mean, this is all going to be done.
Exactly. It's just a cameo. It's not like this is Hugh Jackman reprising Wolverine, which I think is a much more significant, role in the movie. This is just a cameo. So I don't want to get down on it one way or the other, but it's like, I don't know, would people be more excited for a new Elektra or the Elektra from the TV show than Jennifer Garner? Like, I just this idea that it's the nostalgia thing. It's just an over reliance on nostalgia in place of story. Right. And maybe this one turns out to be really good. I don't know all the specifics of it, but it does obviously point to what we said, months ago about Owen Wilson and Miss Minutes and everything, because Owen Wilson's been spotted, right, in the UK.
Right. Yes.
So I think that stuff will pan out, and I think that all this stuff about the X-Men characters that we're seeing is going to ultimately pan out as well.
And we even got today or yesterday, Benedict Cumberbatch in these interviews that he's been doing around town for the last week, mentioning that Doctor Strange is going to come back next year in a Marvel project. Could be Deadpool 3. That's a possibility. Could be at some point he's in at the end of Deadpool 3 because it's talking about multiverses, right? Could we see Blade involved in this? Could we see? So there's a number of possibilities here.
Halle Berry teased her return as Storm already.
Possibly.
On, like Instagram, she was like she had hair on. It was like a storm's. I don't know, whatever it was.
It could just be her trying to lobby. You know how actors are. Don't leave me out of it. If there's a way to get a payday, I'm going to try to market it somehow. You know how actors are.
But again, it's just this idea of like going back to the past that we're beyond this. It's like, it's fun to see Michael Keaton as Batman,
right?
But that movie didn't hit the way that it did because they thought younger people would give a shit, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, is this for me or is this for my uncle?
Right. Well, I also think the number one thing is you've got to make it work. Look, Keaton coming back was great because we all loved seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again, for those of us who like those movies. But the overall storyline didn't work. He was too easily convinced. He was too easily a part of the team. Then they went and did their things. And then he was, I don't want to spoil anything, but things happened to him. So you didn't have enough time to sit with that character and have it progress. With Elektra, I think, is it going to be like what we got in Deadpool 2, where he was that looking to his right and all the X-Men were standing there, Evan Peters and other people? Or is it going to be something more extensive? And if it is, what is the point here with her Elektra in this whole thing? Because who's going to be their Daredevil? Are they going to bring in Charlie Cox? Are they going to bring in Ben Affleck? And is Colin Farrell going to do a cameo as Bullseye, for God's sake?
It doesn't make any sense to have Elektra and not have Ben Affleck.
Right.
So I think that those rumors will end up being true. Let me ask you this. Do you think that because this movie is R-rated, ostensibly, right? So it's already, it's not aimed at families and teenagers. It's aimed at a 17 and 18 and up crowd. So is that what they're sort of banking on? That, okay, we can play into nostalgia and characters from 20 years ago because that's the audience for this movie by nature of its rating?
Yeah, maybe. Certainly it's a possibility. She's look, I'm not going off how can I say this? I'm not going off the edge here, but Jennifer Garner, incredibly attractive woman. There could be a sex scene with them. There could be a love scene with them as a possibility to kind of mess with Hugh Jackman or mess with Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Anything is possible here with Deadpool and with an R rating.
Definitely don't think that there's going to be a sex scene between Elektra and who? Would it be Daredevil?
Deadpool. It would be Ryan Reynolds. Marina Baccarin is no longer around. She's gone.
I just wanted to make sure because if you ever thought J-Lo was going to let Ben Affleck have a sex scene with his ex-wife, that's not. Let me tell you right now, J-Lo will shut that shit down real quick.
Look, I'm surprised J-Lo lets Jennifer Garner's and Ben Affleck's oldest daughter hang around. She is the spitting image of Jennifer Garner. It must mess her up to have her daughter just standing around looking at J-Lo the whole time.
All right. We've spent enough time on a cameo in Deadpool 3. Let's move on.
Sounds good. All right. I want to ask, let's move on to this Ryan Murphy story. This is a kind of heavy story, so let's get into this one. And keep sending in your StreamLabs and Super Chats. People will get to them for sure at the 30-minute mark. Ryan Murphy here is in an interesting conflict with the WGA. In a letter from his attorney to the leadership of the WGA, he threatened litigation against Warren Leight, who's an East Coast strike captain and strike rules compliance committee member, who is also a former Law & Order SVU showrunner and playwright. He alleged in a tweet that crew members on Murphy's American Horror Story had told him that they'd, quote, be blackballed in Murphyland if they didn't cross the WGA picket lines. And already we know, Jeff, a couple of weeks ago, Kim Kardashian, because she's such a brainiac, tweeted out what everybody was up to after she had crossed the picket line to work on American Horror Story and waste her inabilities as an actress on that set. And that's my opinion, of course, my opinion. Murphy's spokesperson countered Leight's tweet by saying, quote, it was absolute nonsense and categorically false. After Leight met with the leadership, he deleted the tweet and issued an apology and retraction, and he called his initial tweet unsubstantiated and completely false and inaccurate. So, Jeff, this feels like the first crack that is starting to happen with the WGA. We're on 10 weeks now of the strike. This is what the AMPTP was waiting for eventually, for the writers to start turning on themselves. And look, Ryan Murphy is about to sign possibly a massive $100 million deal, hundreds of $1 million deal with Disney after leaving Netflix. So does this feel like this is a power player pushing people around going, don't fuck with me. I make more money than all of you combined on this strike line. Or was this just a miscommunication situation?
I'll tell you exactly what this is. This is something that happens to like a good reporter like 100 times a year.
Okay.
Basically. Right? I mean, I've been in this situation, I feel like, countless times. Yeah, I mean, I've had people threaten litigation and whatnot.
Oh, sure.
He didn't do anything, truthfully, he didn't do anything wrong. What are you going to assume for? Right. It's not that he knew that that the information was wrong and published it anyways. He didn't publish with malice. And I totally can clearly see if he actually spoke to any crew member and the crew member's like, yeah, man, I hear like if we don't cross these picket lines, we're going to get blackballed. Him repeating that, maybe it's irresponsible.
Yeah.
If he's just quoting somebody else, I don't, but you know, I don't think that obviously he's not held to certain standards that reporters are, you know. It's a bad look maybe as a WGA captain because I think what Ryan Murphy is just trying to communicate here, and it's important to communicate to the talent. I understand why he took that tweet so seriously. Right. Is you're not going to be blackballed. That's not true.
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna be blackballed. Like, I respect, you know, people don't want to cross the picket line. You know,
Right.
it's not, we'll never work with them again. So I completely believe Ryan, and I understand why somebody accusing him of doing that would trouble him. But he has no legal ground to stand on, because I'm sure someone, if they didn't say it directly, you know, felt that way, or that was sort of the intended communique of like, I have to cross this picket line, or else I think I'm, you know, we all think that if we do something wrong, we're going to be fucked, right?
Right.
So what he wanted was what he got what he wanted, which is Warren Leight is no longer a WGA captain. He's not a straight captain anymore. And a lot of people in the WGA were upset about that. They're like, you know, why are we kowtowing to this? Ryan Murphy is an island unto himself. First of all, not only is he negotiating that $300 million deal, but they say that there's 4 shows in production and 3 of them are Ryan Murphy productions. Well, you know, I understand that someone's got to be the bad guy and like produce television. You know, that was like inevitable.
Right.
But like, yeah, I just I think he got what he wanted with Warren Leight being punished in this way. I don't think there's going to be legal ramifications that Warren Leight has to worry about.
I think you make an excellent point. It's about Ryan Murphy making clear like who he is in the business. And look, a lot of people have spoken one way or another about Ryan Murphy, but he's a big deal. You know, like we had the Taylor Sheridan discussion a couple of weeks ago with his interview that he did as well. There are guys or people who reach a certain level in Hollywood, and the rules don't necessarily 100% apply to them, but they're also employing a large number of people. So there is a bit of like, well, do you really want to attack this guy? And certainly late, it felt like he was feeling himself and feeling the fervor of the strike and the principles and the morality of it all, and, you know, up the workers and all of that, and tweeted that out as a way to kind of maybe jab at Ryan, who, and listen, Leight's a showrunner, so he doesn't like some PA writer or some, you know, staff writer. The guy's got some creds here, so he's got some status, and he thought he could come at Ryan, and he was quickly smacked down and then removed from his position and had to apologize.
When you say that Ryan Murphy thinks so that the rules don't apply to him, the rules he's following, he's going to American.
No. I didn't say the rules don't apply. That he thinks that. I'm saying that sometimes the treatment from other people means the rules don't apply to Ryan in the same way that other people. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
And I get that. But in this particular case, technically, he feels he is following the rules, right? He's in the capacity as a director and a producer, which he's still allowed to do.
Right.
The problem is that people see him as a writer almost. I mean, not first and foremost necessarily, but like he's a writer and he's not there with them in spirit. And that's why he's become a villain, just like someone we're about to talk about later in the show.
Okay.
With the last name of Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Oh, anyway, that's a fair point, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, you know, and you're right. Ryan has made it clear through the spokesperson where his position is, and the WGA implored their officers in a huge letter that they wrote to. And this is their quote: "Our foe in this fight is not other members; it is the AMPTP. If we turn on each other, the AMPTP wins." And so they're smart to send a letter like that out. But certainly the goal there is to not have writers turn on each other. And you can't deny that there's a little bit of, you know, professional jealousy, or maybe people feel Ryan doesn't deserve the status that he's had. So that they use this opportunity to come after him. But clearly the man has power. You know, if you go up against another guy and you lose your status, clearly he had the power in that situation.
He's a huge employer. And when you think about it, he may be bigger himself and his company, bigger than some of the very members in the AMPTP.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Murphy, you know, employed more people than like Lionsgate in a given year or something. Who knows?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. All right. Do you want to go? Oh, you pick something. What do you want to talk about? What do you got going on?
Let's talk about this Lights Camera Jackson thing.
Let's talk about it. My brother. He is my brother. Lights Camera Jackson. We were about to do a show together. Unfortunately, yes, we were. I don't know if, I never signed anything, so I can say
never heard anything about this, lady.
I tell you, we behind the scenes, we were. I was asked to be a part of a show, and I ended up turning it down because they wanted a certain level of commitment that I wasn't ready to give or surrender. And for those of you who were following me on social media, that trip to New York that didn't happen, that was connected to that situation. So we've known each other for a while. I never knew anything about him for Regis or anything like that. I met him on a junket for Abominable back when I was at Collider. So we became fast friends. I've always liked the guy. He's always been supportive of me. He sent me many DMs, especially after the situation happened with Collider, to support me and be like, you can do this, keep going. I'll help in any way I can. So he's a guy who I have a special affinity for. Now, let's get to this tweet that he tweeted out about Joyride. And this was a big deal because his tweet caused quite a lot of fervor from people and a reaction. And even the director of the film chimed in on all of this. And let's look at his tweet real quick. I'm going to bring it up so you guys can read it along with us. He said about Joyride. Joyride is
5 million views. 5 million views. Go on. Sorry.
5 million views. Yeah. Lights, Camera, Jacks. And for those who don't know, he was a young critic on Regis and Kathy Lee, like a kid critic. He grew up. He's still a movie review critic. He's still a part of organizations and unions. And he said, Joyride is embarrassing, incredibly unpleasant. Like most modern adult comedies, quote unquote, it's raunchy simply to be raunchy, forgetting there has to be humor attached, and there's none of that. Objectifies men, targets white people, all shock value, quote unquote, look at me attitude. So, Jeff, you could argue this is a strong negative review about the film. Talking about objectifying men, talking about targeting white people, I can see how you might be upset about him bringing that up in a review. But Jeff, I've read way worse reviews from people coming at people, and I don't know why this review necessarily brought out all the knives and the forks to cut this guy up to pieces. What did you think about it?
I thought the reaction was utterly ridiculous. I mean, like, I don't even we all know why people gang up on him. There's a certain professional jealousy that he was a kid doing what these grown adults did. Sure. And also, the thing with Amy Schumer, even though it was a joke that, Amy Schumer's a comedian who I thought might have a better sense of humor. Like, it was also kind of disrespectful and he crossed a line there. So I think that people have it out for this kid. He's a villain of social media, much in the way that I am. I'm vilified by half of fucking social media, and that's fine because I'm not here to make friends. Okay.
Right.
So this kid, this reaction, I don't really understand what's wrong with it. This is his opinion. First of all, Joyride is embarrassing. I've called movies embarrassing before. Sure. Incredibly unpleasant. He's wrong. I thought it was very funny. I definitely recommend seeing Joyride. I recommended it the other day to some friends. What did you like it?
I have not seen it. I couldn't get to 2 of the screenings for different reasons, so I'm going this weekend. In fact, I signed up for Regal Unlimited so I can go see a few movies this weekend. So yeah,
it's very funny.
I hear it's great.
Modern adult comedies. It's raunchy simply to be raunchy.
Right.
Okay. There's a lot of movies that are raunchy.
Sure. No Hard Feelings was raunchy at times to be
right.
Raunchy. Right.
Forgetting there has to be humor attached. Okay, that's opinion, and there's none of that. All of this is opinion. This is where he starts to get into trouble. Objectifies men. Yeah. Okay, it's a comedy from a female perspective. Did American Pie not objectify women?
100%.
Totally allowed to objectify men. It targets white people. That's an opinion, and you know what? White people are the villain. Yeah. They're the butt of the joke in this movie, the same way that Asians were the butt of the jokes in the 80s, and everybody has been the butt of the joke at some point.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Gay people were the butt of the joke in a bunch of Apatow movies. Okay.
Yes.
This movie, okay, the white people are the butt of the joke. That's a fact.
Yeah.
He pointed it out. All shock value, look at me attitude. Again, opinion, and frankly, a fair criticism.
Yeah.
From someone who may not like the movie. What is the problem with this response? What is the problem?
Yeah. I don't understand because
targets white people.
Yeah.
We got to fire this guy. No, this is actually a kid who's doing his job as a critic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Editors are such pussies these days.
I'm amazed at the same people who would have an issue with this. And I saw some of my fellow reviewers and critics coming after this kid. These are the same people who
pile on time.
Huh? What?
Pile on time.
Yeah. And they're the same people who would run and cry on social media and play victim if these same critics and reviewers who were just on their side came after them for one of their reviews. Oh, I'm being persecuted on social media. So I think it's okay if you have an issue, if you're a reviewer and critic, you have an issue with someone else's review, I think it's totally fine, but be consistent, which means other people, other critics can pile on to one of your reviews and you can't say shit. So when you become a part of the people who pile on, and for no good reason, he wasn't making like racial stereotypes in any of his commentary. He was just saying that it objectifies white people and that bothered him. It's every right. He has every right to say that. And we have every right to just move on from that review and not take it so seriously. But I saw TikToks on this. I saw people going crazy about this. By the way, 95% of them haven't even seen the fucking movie, probably. Or 90% of them haven't even seen the movie because it's even out yet. You know,
they don't even have interest. They're not even interested.
Right.
Okay. But you know, they're social justice warriors on online. It's amazing. It's hilarious. Props to this kid for leaving it up.
Yeah. He did better than me. And I had that Andor tweet where everybody came after me. I took it down. Maybe I should have left it up. I should have had the guts to leave it up, but I didn't, to kind of blow past the drama. But this kid left it. I mean, Jackson left it up. And to his credit, he's just keep posting reviews since. Like it doesn't affect him.
Right. Even if you could say, okay, it toes the line of good taste or whatever. Like, you're telling me that crosses the line for you? Like, you got to fucking move your line back, bro. I don't know what to tell you. No. It's crazy how just the media has been utterly deballed.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyone with an interesting voice, whether it's Sasha Stone or David Poland, they get pushed to the side.
Yeah.
Why is David Poland, whose newsletter is very good, why isn't he writing for Variety? Because he's not safe.
Yeah.
Point out that some studios are doing a bad job.
Listen, and I want to make it clear. Mofongo Gall says, Lights, Camera, Jackson has always been a bad critic. Not sure why nobody is white knighting him. We're not white knighting him.
Wait, if he's such a bad critic, Mofongo Gal, have you been reading his reviews?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know who this fucking kid. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know his opinions on movies because I don't give them any attention because he's like 12.
Yeah, he's 24. He's 24, but
I don't give a shit how old he is. I don't pay attention to him. I don't take him seriously.
Yeah.
Like, it's again, that's like the idol. It's like, oh, he sucks. I've been following his entire career, every step to tell him he sucks, every step along the way. Well, does he then?
And the thing is, look, if he doesn't like certain movies because, they do certain things, that's why he's a critic. And he's got a right to represent his points of views, just like everybody else has a right to represent the point of views if they're licensed critics. I just have a hard time with all these people. Like, people pulled up his tweets from 2016 when he was at a Trump rally, and they just absolutely went after him for that as well. I'm like, come on, guys. I mean, like,
I didn't even know that. Okay, does that disappoints me, by the way.
Yeah.
That he's a
of course, me too. But he did want to do a show with me. And look, how much I post against Trump and hate that piece of shit. So clearly, it's not a thing that he's got adamant about.
Vacuum, which is going to lead us to our next story, which we're also going to judge in a vacuum. I can still give opinion. You can have your opinions about Action Jackson over here. He may suck and you may hate him, but did he really fuck up this time? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
It's great publicity for the movie, and that's why director Adele Lim jumped on it and's like, I need this shit on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
She at least acknowledged like the humor of it all. I don't think it's not like she issued a statement like some other directors did last fall. Not to name names or three names in particular.
Yeah, the director of the film, Claire Lim, said, I want to get objectifies men and targets white people on a t-shirt. So I think that's genius. That's a great way to respond to it. Because like you said, Jeff, she understands. Look, this is part of the game. Criticism, creativity, always hand in hand. So there's nothing more attention.
Taking this kid, they should send him a fucking fruit basket.
5 million views on that tweet. Fuck yeah, that brings more attention to the movie.
That's more fucking reach than the trailers have had.
And it might even be more motivation for people who maybe were on the fence about the movie to go see the movie as a fuck you to him, which helps her,
Any movie I review now, it's, oh, Jeff Sneider didn't like it? I just bought 2 tickets. Shut the fuck up.
There are people like that, though. Okay. We should take a break. We're at the 30-minute mark, and then we'll jump into our next story, which Jeff says is connected to this one, and we'll get to your StreamLabs and your Super Chats right on the other side of this break right now. Ooh, Jeff, it's a hot mic. It is a hot mic today for sure. All right. What is this?
Real hot.
What is the story that's connected to this situation, please? What do you got going on?
I mean, it's time to talk about the GQ story.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Written by my old pal.
Jason Bailey? Jason Bailey, yeah. Jason Bailey. So good.
Okay. I don't know how much to say about Jason Bailey. I don't know how much I want to say, but is Jason Bailey the worst person on the planet? Quite possibly.
Wow, really? Yeah. Wow.
We don't get along. We don't like each other. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anymore. I don't need to pick a fight with Jason. He doesn't like me. I don't like him.
Fair
whatever.
Point.
But
okay,
I got his back here.
Okay.
He didn't do anything really wrong either here. I'm very jealous of him, in fact.
Yeah.
Jason, I'm jealous of you. Because this is the dream of like every journalist.
Yeah.
This is the dream. I mean, you're getting quoted in the Washington Post because you got under Zaz's skin and pissed him off.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible. And you know what? It was totally harmless. It was like a well-written takedown, but there was nothing new in it. Jason doesn't break news. He doesn't have, I mean, I'm sure that he has fans and people in the industry, but he doesn't that's not his thing. He doesn't have real deep sources who know Zaslav and shit. He's judging by everything he sees. And Jason, which is something I disagree with, with regards to his thesis on Zaslav, because Zaslav's been turned into the great villain of Hollywood as Jason. That was his whole piece, right?
Yeah.
But I happen to have had a meal with someone recently, very recently, after that piece was published.
But wait, because we got to give the background to people who haven't read about this real quick. The piece that Jeff is talking about.
You set it up. I'll set it
real quick.
Into it.
We got to remember that because some people haven't seen this thing. It was on GQ.com. They wrote a story on July 3rd called "How Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav Became Public Enemy #1 in Hollywood." It was written by freelance film critic Jason Bailey. And it slammed David Zaslav as a, quote, Logan Roy-esque mogul, for those of you who've seen Succession. And then it quickly disappeared from GQ's website. Then a new, more friendly version popped up in a separate URL, but then that version disappeared. And the reason this is an issue is because GQ's editor-in-chief, Will Welch, is producing a movie supposedly at Warner Brothers titled The Great Chinese Art Heist. And he was involved, according to sources, in the discussion surrounding the removal of Bailey's initial story and made the call to pull the revamped story, which ran some 500 words shorter than the original version. So a lot of people, and the current sources, Warner Brothers Discovery apparently complained to 2 GQ editors, about one of whom was Welch. So there's implications here that David Zaslav of WBD essentially paid off GQ or strong-armed GQ to drop that article so that this Will Welch guy could have a movie at Warner Brothers and keep producing.
None of this is all nonsense. Everything.
It's in the story. I'm just reading what's in the story. But
okay, let me break it down for you.
Go ahead.
I mean, they didn't want the article pulled. That was Jason's decision. Right?
Wow, he didn't comment for the story. So you're saying, according to you, this is Jason's decision.
Jason talks to the Washington Post.
Okay. I'm starting the story from Variety here. Okay.
To take his name off of it, and they're like, we don't put up anonymously, bylined articles, basically. Yeah. And he's like, then let's agree to take it down. So it's not that Warner Brothers ordered to take it down. So that is a big fucking issue. That's not what happened.
Okay.
The other thing is, this is, from what I understand, this is the kind of self-inflicted, self-enforced error that has come to define the Zaslav era.
Okay.
Era, excuse me.
Era, yeah.
Yes, era. This is Nathaniel Brown. This is the name that has not been mentioned.
Okay.
Haven't seen his name anywhere.
Who is Nathaniel Brown?
He is the head of Corp Con for Warner Brothers and Zaz's personal person.
Okay.
This is a huge. I've never met this man. I want him to like me. I have a good relationship with Warner Brothers.
Okay.
This is a huge fuck up on his part. A huge fuck up.
On Nathaniel Brown's part is what you're saying.
No one reads GQ. I would love to write for GQ. And you know what?
That's not the way to go about writing for GQ. Let me just tell you that right now.
I already slid into Will Welch's fucking DMs, Jason.
Oh.
The second Jason got fucking was like, I'm probably not going to be writing for GQ anymore. I was like, I'll fucking take that job.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay. Will Welch. The idea that David Zaslav even knows who Will Welch is patently absurd. Okay. He's just some dude who's like works at the magazine who they option this article, right? And now the project's in development. He has like almost no say in fucking anything. I'm telling you. Okay. Who's making that movie? John Cho?
Yeah, John M. Chu is attached to direct and produce with Ken Chang, Jessica Gao, and Jimmy O. Yang.
It's a John Chu movie. It's not a fucking Will Welch movie. Okay, all due respect to Will Welch.
He's supposed to be producing it though.
I'm trying to get to hire. But no, Will Welch knows his place in the pecking order. Believe me, over there, I know what it's like. Not that I've had things optioned, but I know people who have things optioned. They don't even fucking say shit. Okay. Will Welch was involved in editing the article.
Yes.
Okay. Because he's the fucking editor of GQ. That's his job.
Okay.
Like, it's not like Warner Brothers is like, oh shit, who do we know at GQ? Call Will Welch, see if he can handle it. Like, this is Will Welch's job. It was not inappropriate for Will Welch to handle this necessarily. Should he have maybe disclosed this time and got out in front of that story before a reporter did? Probably.
Yeah.
This story was edited by Will Welch, who has a development project, a project in development at Warner Brothers. That's all you need to do is put a note on the story.
Right.
I don't, I also, in the way that I have Jason's back here, Jason, Warner Brothers' big thing is that, well, he never called. He never called.
Yeah, to check these.
Jason's not a reporter. Yeah. I think he would agree with me saying that. I don't mean to insult him. I think I think Jason's a talented critic. He's obviously a good writer.
Okay. Yeah, clearly.
But he's not a reporter. This is a piece of cultural criticism in which he really didn't owe Warner Brothers a fucking call at all.
Yeah, right.
So I have to disagree with Warner Brothers on that one. Okay. I don't think that he owed them a call. The inaccuracies that they point to, this is how I lose multiple jobs all over town. They're like, it's full of inaccuracies. Press them on that. What are the inaccuracies? The inaccuracies are Jason's opinions. He had the wrong opinions. Wrong. Sorry, Jason. He's not like Logan Roy at all. Yeah. Wrong. This is the part of being a writer.
Yeah.
Like he's allowed that creative license. And the fact that David Zaslav, like, dude, you're on strike against a different group of writers. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And again, no one reads, all due respect, no one is fucking reading GQ for this kind of shit. Okay. No one gives a crap about GQ's take on it. And if Nathaniel Brown had just let this be, we wouldn't be talking about it. All of media wouldn't have been talking about it days later. It's an insane fucking misstep. And Zaslav needs to get rid of that guy. Again, all apologies. I hate when people advocate for people to lose their jobs. This is like the Chris Lick shit. This is like, what are you doing? This is your whole job, is to recognize how this could blow up in your face. You don't think Jason Bailey, of all people, Jason Bailey, the single worst person on the internet, in my opinion, I will testify to that. You don't think he's going to go on social media and make a fucking fuss about this? Holy shit. You need to know the landscape of the reporters on your beat. If you're the fucking head of Warner Brothers Corpcom and you do David Zaslav, know who you are dealing with, my friend. Yeah. I know who I'm dealing with, Jason Bailey, which is why I'm, I have to have his back here, because as a reporter, he did it. He was in the right. Yeah,
there you go. I can't say too much about it because Jeff just dropped some new facts on me. So in that way, I look at it like, and I'm not saying I agree with the getting rid of Nathaniel Brown aspect of it all, but certainly having a little more perspective on this, a little more of the inside baseball information on this, it makes me look at this in a completely different way. Yeah, you might be right. He doesn't know who this guy is. This wasn't an effort by Zaslav. This is just because everyone is piling on Zaslav. This is now getting thrown into the pile of stuff here about David Zaslav for sure. So
I do understand that Warner Brothers may feel like upstairs, they may be like, well, aren't we huge shareholders in GQ? That I understand. I definitely don't think anyone was thinking of the fucking Great American Chinese Heist Project this past weekend. I promise you that.
Right.
Other than Will Welch, who was probably like, holy fuck, I better take this down or they're going to fucking shut down my movie. Maybe, but at the end of the day, he changed it.
Right.
And it was Jason, when Jason had a problem with the changes, that's when they made that decision. I think that's a fair decision. I hate when things come down to, there are some things that are beyond a reporter's control, much as my Don Murphy profile was, which was also 100% accurate.
Yeah, I have a problem with it. And I have a problem with what you just brought up. And this idea that companies are shareholders in these websites or these magazines or these things. I just have a real problem with it because they will inevitably exert control when they want to exert control.
Yes.
Control a narrative, change a narrative. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago when we heard about that media buying up all these things and then buying up all these sites, Variety and all these sites being brought up by one. Was it her? Who's buying? Was it Hearst? No, was it? I forget the name of the person who's the company that's buying all these magazines and outlets. And essentially, they're going to hand the marching orders about what to cover and what not to cover, right? And that bothers me because we've got to have independent analysis, independent opinions, independent reviews of these things and points.
The problem is, John, that nothing stays independent anymore.
I know this is so frustrating because
everything gets acquired. Okay, Puck becomes a part of the Ringer or what? That's where
the Ringer doesn't. Like the Ringer does. I mean, you can't write about Bill Simmons.
Ringer's Spotify. It's the Ringer's Spotify, and so Puck by association.
Yeah, it's true. It's
also fucking Spotify, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you got Rushfield's, God bless him, and the Ankler taking fucking ads from Neom. Right. I mean, after just bitching about Penske doing the same thing.
Well, that's why I enjoy Penske Media. That's who it was. Yeah, but that's why I enjoy our show, man. And I'm not trying to fucking put a trumpet out for us. I'm just saying the reason we started the show and the reason I started the show in terms of wanting to pitch it to you was that we want to be able to tell our truths without being beholden, for the most part, to any studio or any organization or entity and give our analysis and our points of views on these things. And I hate when something gets bought up, or I hate when something gets changed or taken down to save the feelings of a mogul, if that's what happened, because or change the narrative about a studio, because these are the same people that turn around and bitch about creatives being gutless or being cowards or being crybabies. And then the same ones who turn around and bitch about the media being crybabies when they're just as bad crybabies wise on the other side of the fence. So it just becomes so frustrating when you watch this kind of stuff. So
if you're Jason, I understand. It's like, why would you want compromised criticism up on GQ? It's like, this isn't what I wrote. This isn't how I feel.
Yeah.
Take it down. And here's the money.
I don't want my name attached to this. No different than a director saying
his name is already attached. I mean,
that's fair. That's fair.
About getting out there, which what, frankly, he had to do.
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, again.
That being said, if anybody wants to buy the hot mic, you can, but we're going to stay independent.
But that's the sacrifice, John. Yeah. And it's because I can look myself in the mirror. Yeah. Maybe some of my colleagues think they can look themselves in the mirror, but I can't. I can barely look at some of them in the face anymore.
Oh,
and you know what? And they have houses and condos and all kinds of things that I don't have because I bit the hand that feeds me.
Yeah.
But I know I'm more honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, at a job that shall not be named, that a certain somebody who was answering phones a year ago came in and was like, you know what? I think we should just kiss the ass of the studios with all our movie reviews. We should never ask any tough questions of any of these people. And we should just do that with our outlet. And I was like, what are you talking about? Then we just become an extension, an arm of the studios. And it was like, well, no one's going to want to come be a guest if we tell truths here. And it's like, well, then what the fuck are we doing? So,
I never even understood that because it's like, who's the biggest radio person ever?
Howard Stern.
Isn't his whole show about telling truths? People can't wait to get on that show and tell the fucking truth. So it's just like, again, it's what Hollywood does. They make movies about journalists who break the rules and don't listen to the orders. They don't follow orders and they don't fall in line. But when it comes to the journalists covering them, there's no respect for those people. It's we got to get rid of this person. He's not compliant. He's not getting along.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
It's always that for sure. Well, let's read some of these super chats, Jeff. Now that we've hit some of the meat of the show here. The first one from Draws Walker says, now with box office numbers are being counted starting on Thursdays, are the embargo periods getting shorter after movies are released? Is that true? I haven't noticed that, Jeff. Do you notice that?
I don't even understand the question. Are the embargo periods getting shorter after movies are released?
I guess after movies are screened is what he's trying to say. I think he's trying to say after movies are screened.
I mean, it certainly seems like more and more movies are being shown to the general press.
Yeah.
The week of release.
Right.
Usually on Monday or Tuesday so that people can file their reviews, Wednesday or Thursday.
And sometimes even like with stuff with like The Flash or even Joyride, which has already had like 3 fan screenings. And apparently there's a Mission Impossible 7 early fan screening. They want to also get people's actual social media reactions up as quick as possible.
The junket crew, they always cater to the junket.
Yeah.
Junketeers. I mean, when the studio has the goods, I feel like they start screening things pretty early.
Yeah, that's usually an indicator. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they keep the cards close to the vest when they know that, reviews aren't really going to benefit a movie, which is why Warner Brothers is keeping Barbie very close to the vest.
Yeah.
And again, I've talked to multiple people who have seen Barbie. Not one of them has been positive on the movie. None of them have been negative either. They've all been mixed. It's now been 3 or 4 different people.
Wow.
You know what? It was okay. I liked here, I'll even go to insider reviews right here. I don't give a shit.
You say that just as they announced, or there was some social media buzz today that there is a Ken spinoff apparently in the works with Ryan Gosling attached to be in it.
That passed the smell test.
Yeah.
I've heard Gosling is great.
Oh,
Gosling is really fucking hilarious.
Wouldn't that be ironic that he's the one that stands out in a movie that they're trying to promote Margot Robbie and the female aesthetic in?
Well, because I'm sure, he's, maybe the comic relief in a way, and she's kind of maybe the straight person.
Yeah.
Like Jerry Seinfeld surrounded by George and Kramer.
Right.
A source says the stuff in Barbie world is fun. Everything else is just generic in terms of themes. But Gosling is great. The movie will do really well, but it's more of a vibe.
Yeah.
It's more of like an aesthetic, the pink and the colors and everything. It's that and a vibe more than like a real movie or story, I guess. I don't know than anything else. Although the third act may have a little bit of emotion.
Oh, all right. Fair point.
This same source had also seen Oppenheimer. They said, on the other hand, that movie fucking rules.
Fucking rules? Yeah. I just found out that for reviewers down here, we have to choose on the same night which one to go see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to reveal who told me that, but when I found this out, I was super fucking pissed.
Hearing it's in multiple markets too.
Yeah. In multiple markets, they're making reviewers choose whether to go see Barbie or Oppenheimer because they've scheduled them to screen on the same night,
which means
in different areas of town.
Which means critics can't sell 2 reviews, basically.
Right. Essentially, that's what it means. So I am choosing to go see Barbie because it's closer. It's in a way better theater. And so but I would have chosen Oppenheimer over Barbie because that speaks more my language. But I'm going to go see Barbie. And then I guess I have to go see Oppenheimer the next night on a Thursday night.
Let me ask you, be honest. Are you seeing Barbie because it will drive more traffic to the
Yes, 100%. 100%. And also because
thank you for admitting that.
Yeah, of course. And it's because it's a shitty theater that they're showing Oppenheimer in.
The circumstances surrounding the screening are more beneficial.
Right.
Everything.
I want to see Oppenheimer in IMAX. And they do screen numerous films in IMAX down here in San Diego. So I was really surprised to hear that it wasn't going to be an IMAX that I've gone to multiple times to see premiere films from that studio in the past.
We got offered, what was it? Either IMAX or 70 millimeter. I went with IMAX.
Yeah. I mean, I almost RSVP'd for the one in LA just to drive up there and see it that day. But in the end, I just didn't think it was worth it, in my opinion, to wait one more day to see it or 2 days to see it. Yeah.
You can always crash in my place, though, Johnny.
Sure. Brandon says, I saw the Jennifer Lawrence movie, No Hard Feelings. I actually had a few good laughs. It was a mixture of The Girl Next Door and She's Out of My League, but it was a nice break from comic book movies. Those are not two good films, though, man. I mean, She's Out of My League is funny in certain spots. Girl Next Door is funny in certain spots, but I think that's perfect comparison, actually, because I didn't think No Hard Feelings quite 100% got there like those two movies didn't 100% get there. So that makes sense.
I saw No Hard Feelings as well. I enjoyed it. I love The Girl Next Door. The Girl Next Door is why I am in Los Angeles, guys.
Wow.
I mean, along with Scream, but yeah, The Girl Next Door. That's who brought me out to Los Angeles.
Were you trying to meet Abby or so? Were you trying to meet?
I worked for the director, Luke Greenfield.
Oh, right on.
Still a buddy, and so I love The Girl Next Door. I didn't think No Hard Feelings was quite on that level, but I did think it was much better than She's Out of My League. Yeah,
it introduced me to Alice Eve, who I really enjoyed, and I thought there was some nice Jay Baruchel comedy, especially from the other actors. I thought they had some funny moments as well. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey says, I have no hot takes, just wanting to send support. Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Love Daggerborn says, have you heard anything about how Amazon will do with Stargate? Is it a new series or a new movie? What have you heard, Jeff? Anything?
I mean, it strikes me as a series. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with a movie.
Yeah. Don says, make no mistake, you can't get blackballed, but you can be conveniently ignored or forgotten for a job. That's certainly true, Jeff.
Again, that's but I think that, again, Ryan Murphy was right to get it out there that, like, this isn't true.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that voluntary mini camp in the NFL.
And that's the danger of passing along,
information,
rumors online, right? And he owned up to it, Warren. So I can't imagine Ryan Murphy's going to follow through on that threat, but I understand why he had to make it.
Yeah. Jose Diaz says, what's up, guys? My question is, do you think studios should start budgeting their films better?
Yes.
There's absolutely no reason an Indiana Jones film should have cost $300 million plus.
Right. And it's like, who signs off on that? Is that Kathy, or is that someone at Disney who's like likely footing the bill, being like, okay, we're willing to spend this amount on it? Did it go over budget? Was that the actual like budget everybody agreed on ahead of time?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of questions here, but you're right. 300 is completely irresponsible, as this I could have seen coming like snow in New England in December or January. Like, what? This franchise is ancient.
Yeah.
I mean, these movies, I didn't see the last one. I didn't see Crystal Skull.
Nor should you ever.
No one consults me on these things. I will tell you. I will be very honest. Try to do Back to the Future too. That's not going to work either.
Oof, yeah. If it's not Michael J. Fox, it ain't.
The result is Indiana Jones, if they ever did anything with it.
Yeah.
Because we've been Back to the Future 100 million fucking times already with everything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, remember everything's gone up in prices, materials, everything's gone up in price. So, but something like John Wick 4, which also was in multiple locations in Europe, 100 million. That's all it was made for. And it made a shit ton. So yeah, you could argue that Dial of Destiny could have been an easily $100 million film and would have been a much better and more well-received film that would have made more money.
I think you make that at like 175. That is like the top end of this is the budget for Indiana Jones 5. 175.
Fair point.
You can't do it for 175, man. You're doomed. You are Temple of Doomed.
Temple of Doomed. Brian Brawler says, who are these people who have the time to do all this nonsense over a movie review? Loving the sass today, gentlemen. Thank you, Brian.
I had to come to the backs of both these guys.
Yeah, for sure. And Don Ronaldo says, here, the people recognize the hot mic as the people's choice. I agree.
Obviously, we don't have the same marketing budget as other big name movie podcasts with big name guests and big stars.
We don't need them. We don't need them.
No, we don't fucking need them, dude.
There you go. Well said. All right. Orange Chicken says, hi. Hey, y'all. Jeff, any Star Wars movie rumor news or anything with Lucasfilm? I'm fiending, brother. I need something. And let me add to that, Jeff, how much bullshit is involved with all these sites running around with these Kathleen Kennedy news that she's going to be fired? Her email's been cut off. She's going to be let go in the next 2 weeks. I mean, how much? Even Yahoo reported. Yahoo doesn't usually go clickbait. And they went clickbait on this. And I was like, what the fuck? What do you think about this, man?
I don't know what to think anymore, man. I mean, this was just such an obvious obvious catastrophe from the start.
Yeah.
Part of me, and maybe this will have no bearing on anything, part of me is very curious whether Andor gets an Emmy nomination for Best Drama Series next week.
I hope it does. It deserves it.
I don't know why I think that would buy her some time. Because it's like, to deliver a really truly like acclaimed piece of Star Wars lore, like that's no small thing. But like I don't know if it doesn't, like, why not? Why just, like, I don't understand the allegiance at this point. Like, and now that the next line of movies are in the works,
she has her fingers all over, though. She's the one that said they want to have female leads going forward in these Star Wars projects. She said that in the interviews, and you see it finally happening with the new Daisy Ridley movie, Ahsoka coming in. There's going to be a lot of female leads here. They're not turning away from it. But I wonder also, Jeff, let me ask you this.
Don't they already have guys? And like, that's the challenge, is to bring in a female audience.
Yeah. That's what they're trying to do. But you're alienating the guy audience, because so many of these.
Why is having a female lead alienating the guy?
You know how small ball these guys are, how small dick these guys are. They get upset by a strong woman. They get unsettled by a woman who speaks her mind. I mean, look at how many of them came after Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character in Indiana Jones 5, and it totally worked in the movie, yet all of them were super upset that they dared that a young woman would knock out their icon Indiana Jones, who's 80 fucking years old. They just got into their feelings about it, and too much of that shit is happening nowadays, rather than just seeing if it fucking works. Why don't you just wait and see if it fucking works, But on the heels of that, Jeff, seven diversity coordinators have stepped down in the last 3 weeks from noted studios and streaming services. You know me sometimes to put the tinfoil hat on, and to me, this feels like we're seeing a change now after these studios have tried going progressive over the last few years and seeing their bottom line and their money kind of dissipate and not make as much money. Do you think they are quietly rethinking their strategy to start not being as diverse, at least with their leads, as they have been? Do you think they're changing course here a little bit and maybe going back to catering to white leads again, or majority white leads, even though it is still majority white leads, but even more so? Do you think that's happening, or do you think it's just a coincidence that 7 diversity coordinators stepped down within 2 weeks?
Certainly, definitely like noteworthy. Like, it was hard not to notice what was happening with just like one headline after the next.
Yeah.
I can't really explain it, because I don't know everyone's individual circumstances.
Right.
There's been theories of, it's like, well, they cut those roles because, and some people are, claim to have stepped down. Others say my position's been eliminated or whatever.
Right.
Because, DEI initiatives aren't basically making money. And it's like companies are cutting everything. And it's like, okay, well, this division brings in this much, and this division brings in this much, and this. What do you bring in exactly? You bring in diversity. Unless you can show the effects on the bottom line there, which that's why not every company, has let go of their person, because maybe some companies it is paying off.
Yeah.
It hasn't yet. Not that that's totally on the DEI executive or whatever. I think it's just like an easy position to eliminate, which is sad. But it, also, I think that they are realizing that that's not our job. Our job is not to lecture and to deliver message movies. And like, people are sick of that. And there is pushback on that, which is why you've seen that graph going around social media. I think it was from Bloomberg, where entertainment stocks, everything is down 90%. Yeah. 90%. There's, so like, people are just tuning this shit out. And if they want to continue on this, direction, not that I'm saying that the direction is diversity or whatever.
Right.
You can still make a movie like The Haunted Mansion coming out and cast Stanfield. There's no reason you can't have diversity, but like, that's not, a message movie that's being jammed down someone's throat. And I do think a lot of that, studios do have to be careful of that stuff, and they probably are second guessing.
Yeah, I mean, look, movies have always had messages since the dawn of the movie. So I do think some of this, for lack of a better term, has been trumped up by a certain side of the political spectrum. Sure. But it is clearly bleeding into the mainstream, Jeff, because there are people who do count themselves as progressives who feel a little overwhelmed by all of this stuff because it's all coming too soon, too fast, too much, right? And you can sense that. Now, I'm fine with it. I'm hanging on with my fingernails on the diversity train to make sure I'm saying the right pronouns and trying to not detonate him. It's a lot, but I don't mind doing it. But a lot of people don't because they've got a lot of other stuff going on and they don't want to get raked over the coals. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the Young Turk stuff, but that stuff is kind of blowing up with how he's responding to an employee and the back and forth that's going on with that. And that's supposedly a bastion of progressiveness, that place. So yeah. So
I'm not a very political person. It's funny. I was in therapy this week and talking about certain things and my therapist was like, you sound like, have you ever thought about running for office or something, or like politics? Because you have certain
oh my God.
Whatever. I'm like, no, like just because they're my beliefs doesn't mean I want to impose them on other people. Like
I would like to be your campaign manager if you run.
Right. Well, I think listen, there's a lot of things that I say that make me unpopular on film Twitter or whatever that frankly a lot of people would probably agree with. But
yeah, I think so. And that's why we
not necessarily for the right reasons, though.
Jeff Rocha says, hey, Jeff Rocha. Hey, y'all, I appreciate you dope people and beautiful people. Any news on what's going on with Marvel and the Avengers with Kang? Are they changing things? Yeah, Jeff. I mean, Jonathan Majors, there's been more updates on the Jonathan Majors situation. Initially, it looked like he was out of the cold and that the charges were being turned around on the woman who allegedly attacked him. But then more people came forward with more information of what they had been experiencing or what they had experienced with Jonathan Majors and were willing to go on record about it. And that's kind of thrown everything now back into the up in the air. So what do you hear that's happening? Do you hear anything that's happening? What do you predict might be happening now with all this new information that's come out?
I have not heard Zeno Hour in the chat. I've not heard a goddamn thing. What are we talking about?
Jonathan Kang. Jonathan Majors.
I have not heard anything. So this is not a thing to aggregate. But in my professional opinion, having been on this rodeo before,
yes,
I think it's safe to say with near 100% certainty he is out.
Yeah, it feels that way.
I do not think you will see him be filming new Kang material. I do not think that they'll necessarily reshoot anything they have with him, but I do not think that they will have him back on a set.
It's very possible that they shoot a scene with actors involved in something, involved in the MCU.
Yes, that's fair. Okay, don't exactly. Don't hold me to that, and then be like, well, there was a scene in which he had to come back to explain it all.
Right.
Going forward, I cannot imagine that this guy's playing Kang long term.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break, Jeff. We're at another half-hour mark, and let's jump into some more of these StreamLabs, and then we'll hit some more of these news stories and get on out of here. Let people enjoy the weekend. We're right back right after this. All right, Jeff, let's get into these got some more StreamLabs that came through. George Lucas Hero says, hey, y'all, quick question. Any word on James Bond, and do you think Christopher Nolan will possibly direct James Bond down the road?
I do. I mean, if that's a stated goal of his, and particularly right now where the stars have aligned and, Bond needs to be recast, and frankly, there should be a director's input in that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And plus, if he's making this big, awards movie that isn't the normal sort of action blockbuster or whatever that he's used, it just seems like all the stars are aligned for him to do it right now.
Yeah.
He's also not a spring chicken anymore.
No.
He's in his 50s, right?
Yeah. Just like Tarantino in his 60s, man. They got to get mid-60s.
Time. Seems like if you want to do this, now is the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to inherit some other guy's fucking choice. And maybe that's why things, obviously there's been a strike. So, that's why news has been a little bit slow.
Right.
I think that he just needs to really make certain a couple of things.
Yeah.
That this movie will not go to Prime Video. Okay.
Yes.
And that the Prime Video has no expectations of continuing. Like, there's not going to be a Bond series with the same actor. No one's like, I'm going to do what I do, and you get what you get. There's don't plan anything else.
Let me do my.
I also, quite frankly, and this may be a little controversial, I think for someone is going to need some assurances of who's going to be the head of Amazon Studios long term.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, Jen Psaki is not the answer.
Do you think you sense a change?
I've given her a lot of fucking slack and leeway. Now that we have results, and because I could have told you 2 years ago that Citadel was not going to work and that this was going to be a huge, huge waste of money.
Even though it's been greenlit for a second season, though.
Nobody asked me. Nobody consulted me. I don't know what kind of math or formulas Amazon is running over there. They seem like they have access to a lot of data and tools. You don't need a tool. You just need this tool right here who can tell you Citadel was never going to fucking work. So Jen Psaki has made a couple of good shows under her watch, but not enough to really justify, especially given the budget she has every year. I'm afraid she's got to go before the end of the year.
Okay.
Sorry. The insider spoken.
There he is. We'll keep a tabs on that for sure. All right. I'm Two Fly Cam says, well, fellas, Indy 5 is dead on arrival. As I said, Lucasfilm is absolutely disconnected to think Indy was going to be interesting to the under 40 crowd. Nathan Drake is better, in my opinion. Anyways, I wanted to ask, how does Kathleen Kennedy survive this blunder? Does she stay beyond 2024? I think we discussed that. I am Two Fly Cam. So, Jeff, anything more you want to add to that?
To what?
To Kathleen Kennedy. Does she survive the Indy 5 situation here? Does she? And by the way, I think it's way too soon to say Indy 5 is dead on arrival. I don't think it's dead yet, right? I mean, I think the box office, we'll see what happens the next week or two. And we'll see. Does it have legs? Are older people going to go back and see this over and over? Because
what are you doing right now?
A lot of people have told me they've gone to see it and have really enjoyed it. A lot of people were not movie critics. Regular people, moviegoers, have gone to see the film and really enjoyed it. So I don't know if word of mouth is going to get
5 days. That movie will become a complete and total afterthought.
Oh, that's a shame.
And we all know.
Right, with MI7 coming and everything. Yeah, that's a fair point.
And then Barbie, and then Oppenheimer.
That's true.
Come on. This movie will disappear in 5 days.
Sadly. This movie will self-destruct in 5 days.
Yes.
Lou says, just giving some love about Joyride. This movie goes for the R rating by doing the female thing the movies traditionally done by males, and I'm all for it. Yeah, and I love that. I can't wait to see it. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I liked Blockers. I like the films that kind of turn the male perspective around to show the female perspective on these things and show how raunchy or female, how equally raunchy women can be in all of this. So I like these kinds of movies. Bridesmaids, that's one of my favorites, for God's sake. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's nothing to do with the review of Lights, Camera, Jackson. Doug says, respectfully, about what Lights, Action, Jackson said, if a comedy targets people of color, would he say a thing? Him complaining is exactly what the toxic, racist, anti-woke people on YouTube would say.
Would he say a thing? I don't know. I'm not in his fucking head. Like, why do you think he wouldn't say something? Like, it seems more like you're projecting onto this kid. And yeah, if there was a comedy that just went after, just every joke was about black people, maybe he would point that out in his review. Why wouldn't he?
Right, exactly. If it was an all-white lead, 4 white leads in a film, and they were constantly going in on black people.
Exactly. It's like it could be this movie is obnoxious and embarrassing, and all it did was target black people.
But here's the deal, Doug. Doug's one of my patrons, and I respect Doug. But him complaining, he's not complaining. He's reviewing the film. That's the difference. Complaining is your dad with his hand in his pants yelling at the television at 11 o'clock at night. All right. Him reviewing the film and is not the toxic race, because he didn't say, anything derogatory about Asian people, anything derogatory or sexist in his commentary. He was just saying it objectifies men and goes after white people.
His opinion, it's completely wrong, but he's entitled to it.
Yeah, right. And he's entitled to his opinion. He's a reviewer. That's not saying he can get away with anything. I'm just
entitled to his opinion.
Right.
Which also includes the fact that David Zaslav's a monster for selling half of Warner's music publishing rights, which I already told you last week.
Yeah.
The fucking theme for Casablanca is just gathering dust on a shelf, okay? If you can get $500 million for it to make your books look better, you do it. Sorry.
Fair point.
There's all this ammunition, again, which, again, Jason is entitled to his opinion, which is why he didn't need to run it by Warner Brothers. But, I disagree with his opinion. I do think that David Zaslav has made some tough moves, but necessary moves. You don't, again, and because of that meal that I had,
Yeah.
You don't need 90 people to run a channel that runs old movies. Okay? I'm sorry to tell you that. I'm sorry to the 70 people who got laid off. I truly am.
Yeah, 100%.
Times and my heart goes out to you. But it does not take 90 people to press play on old movies. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic says, hey guys, enjoying the show and giving support. One question. If Indy 5 doesn't have legs, does this mean trouble for Mangold's Star Wars project? I don't think so. I wouldn't, Jeff. I don't know how you feel about it, but I don't think so because it's completely something completely different, and it's going for a younger demographic, and it's going for Star Wars fans with a lead who is still just a few years removed from being the lead of a trilogy. So, you know, I don't think it's the same thing comparable in terms of Indiana Jones. What do you think?
What I think about Star Wars? What
well, I mean, because James Mangold having this film not do well. We've seen Kathleen change horses midstream with directors.
I think that his idea is unique enough that it can only happen with him. So if they're jazzed on the idea, then he'll stick around and be the one to make it. It's not just like, I want to do like a Boba Fett prequel or whatever. In which case they're like, well, okay, you had some good ideas, but we could find anybody to kind of do this.
Yeah.
You know? But I think what he has in mind is very specific to his own, you know, tone as a filmmaker and all that kind of stuff. So I do think that will stick around. He's a great filmmaker.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Indy, but again, you're stepping into some pretty big shoes there.
Jesus, you want to buy you a ticket? I'll fucking buy you a ticket if you're gonna.
I don't want to see Dial of Destiny. I don't give a shit.
You don't want to see it?
No, I don't give a. I almost did. Remember, I was saying, this movie, it will be because of James Mangold.
Right.
Reviews weren't good enough, and I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I didn't see Crystal Skull, so whatever.
Fair enough. Gentleman Scientist says, at the end of Indy 5, it looks like Indy and Marion are going to get it on. Someone grabs the hat. Is it canon that he wears the hat when he hooks up now? Well, it's canon that the outlaw wears the belt when he has sex, so a title belt. So why wouldn't it be canon that the Indiana Jones wears the hat when he has sex? Nothing wrong with that.
By the way, that Indiana Jones show that has been in the news because Mangold talked about it. I love, he's gone very much out of his way to say, well, this is never, it was never greenlit and, all this and that. You guys think we're making fucking Indiana Jones spin-off series without Indiana Jones even in them?
Yeah.
Like, no, I told you that stuff is going away, and it's definitely going away now.
Yeah, and don't think Phoebe Waller-Bridge is coming back to continue this as a new Indiana Jones either. I can't imagine that's going to happen either.
The new Indiana Jones, isn't that the Tomb Raider? Tomb Raider is female Indiana Jones. The same fucking thing.
Well, who's developing that? That just came. Who was it that just came? It got announced they were developing that. Oh God, I forget. Anyway, Two Dope Boy says, John, will you watch The Expanse one day as it's considered one of the greatest sci-fi series of all time? And Jeff, will you finally watch Succession prior to the Emmys? Jeff, watch Succession for fuck's sake. It's a great show. Jesus Christ.
I know everything I need to know about Succession. Why? Because I'm the eldest boy.
These are not serious people. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is developing the Tomb Raider series. That's right. So, yeah. Will she put herself in it? I wonder. All right. What do you got, Jeff? I've got 5 things over here. Diablo Cody on Barbie. Rebecca Romijn's comments about Bryan Singer. Tributes to Alan Arkin and Coco Lee. MI7 reviews. Bob Marley One Love trailer. The Nun 2 trailer. What do you want to talk about? Or what do you have?
You pick, buddy.
All right. I'm going to pick.
You're the boss.
Well, let's talk about Alan Arkin because he did pass away. And I think both of us have a affinity for Alan. Many generations, many decades of entertainment. What's that? What do you got? Glengarry Glen Ross? What do you got up there?
No, I've got my Wait Until Dark Italian poster.
Ooh, the Audrey Hepburn movie. Nice.
That's right. That's my favorite Alan Arkin movie.
Want to come in the house and kill you? I loved Alan Arkin for so many reasons. He's been in so many great movies.
Still with us today.
But no, and and his son Adam. I love Adam as an actor as well. West Wing, Chicago Hope. Great actor. But yeah, Alan was so good in so many things. And look, he was once a lead, and he was such an unusual, interesting lead in the 70s. Transitioned so well to be a character actor in a number of films, TV shows. So great. I mean, remember Argo, remember Glengarry Glen Ross. So many great things. Grosse Point Blank. Just an unforgettable guy who always brought fantastic talent. Of course, Little Miss Sunshine, which won in the Oscar. So what are your thoughts when you think about Alan Arkin, brother?
I love Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
It's like the sweet old man who could also have some bite to him.
Yeah.
He's great in Argo. He's great as the sad sack basically in Glengarry. You're absolutely
right.
Right.
Yeah.
He had just like tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean, he had pretty good range, and he was a very talented guy. I mean, he was a singer. That's how he broke out with like this Banana Boat song and whatnot. It was interesting reading about his life and his journey through Hollywood and everything. There was a period like in the 90s, like some of those movies after, I guess, the 80s weren't a great period for Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
It became all about Schwarzeneggers and Stallones, right? Then he does like Edward Scissorhands. So you don't think of him in a movie like that, but Edward Scissorhands is like one of my favorite movies. It's above my toilet, the poster. So he just has a great, very varied body of work over the course of 7 decades. He was still getting nominations for Kominsky Method. I don't know if you watched that show, but I always like the Kominsky Method. He will be missed. He leaves behind a rich legacy, including three sons who act.
Yes, good point. Yes, 3 sons. I mean, Adam is my choice, but yes, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, and Coco Lee also passed away. Really sad to read this story. Coco Lee, who was the Mandarin voice of the title character in Disney's animated movie Mulan, she died at a Hong Kong hospital on Wednesday at the age of 48 after trying to take her own life. She had been suffering from depression for a few years. She was nominated for her performance for A Love Before Time from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So she just got a lot of connections here and sang a song for Mulan as well. And even had a song on the Julia Roberts and Richard Gere film Runaway Bride. She performed a version of Before I Fall in Love. So certainly, kind of connected to a lot of these films that we've known over the last few years, but only 48 years old, Jeff, and sadly dying from the complications of trying to take her life. And it's just another further proof and evidence that you just don't know what people are suffering through. You don't know what people are going through, no matter how much success they may achieve and heights they may achieve. There are demons, there are inner demons that people struggle with. And sometimes, they just catch up to them and they can't outrun them. Certainly I've gone through my own stuff with mental health, and you just never know. It's always lurking around the corner. It's almost like a version of alcoholism. It's always one drink away, one bad day away from sliding into that depression. So what are your thoughts? And did you know much about Coco Lee?
No, I didn't. But R.I.P. And obviously that is never the answer.
Yeah, right. Yes, of course. And of course, if you are having any thoughts as we're talking about it or anything going on, you can always call the 988 line, which is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you have anything that goes on, and you might be listening to us right now or later on when you watch the show, if you're in some bad places, you need someone to talk to, I can tell you 100%, I called the suicide prevention hotline that night that I almost took my life, or that morning, and it saved my life. So I can advocate for that. Please call if you're in a bad shape. They do have great trained professionals who will get you to climb out of that to find some help for yourself. Please, I can't encourage you all enough. We got to move on to a harder edge topic here. Dude, The Idol won't go away, Jeff. The series is over, but Jane Addams...
So you say...
It's one of the, unless there's a Phantom 6 episode somewhere, Jeff. I've heard that somewhere. But the Idol actor Jane Addams, fantastic character actress, she has called out, quote, feminists in a recent Vanity Fair interview. And she said, what is amazing to me is no one's listening. I've not seen that before in all my days. Such a dogged, we refuse to change the narrative. I especially want to say to all the feminists, go F yourself. All these women that I'm working with are talking about their experience, and you're not listening. You're not listening. And of course, she's talking about her experience.
She's totally right.
So, Jeff, you talk to me.
Every actress on that show has come forward saying there was no problems here. And everyone's like, yeah, but we read it in Rolling Stone. From a bunch of whiny PAs who didn't like what they saw going on.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. I'm not going to let you get away with that. I mean, look, there might have been top of the bill stars of your show are not going to get the same treatment as a female PA or female assistant or AD or whatever. So there might have been women on the set.
It's not a story about PAs being abused and mistreated. It's about the people who didn't like the direction of the show and the tone of the show. It's like, you're not a fucking HBO executive. You're not fucking Sam Levinson. You're some fucking PA. Shut the fuck up. Like, what? That's basically what that article was. Again, a well-reported article. Maybe it was true, but it amounted to a hill of beans.
Wow.
Okay, everyone had their fucking knives out for the show before the show even debuted. That is clear as day.
Yeah.
So whether you liked it or not, there was nothing terribly risque. I mean, no, come on, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, people, it's the same thing with Action Jackson and me and all that shit. People just love to fucking hate, and they need their villains, Zaslav included.
Yeah. Lily Rose Depp and Davine Joy Randolph also coming to the defense of the show. Davine Randolph saying, to be very transparent with you, if I did see anyone being mistreated, especially since I was one of the older actors, I would have said something, or I would have walked off that set. But also, we get paid for what we do, meaning it's long hours. So when they said in the Rolling Stone article that's long hours, well, any show you're on, you're working at least 12 hours. If you walk out there and it's been 12 hours, that is a good day, girl. So there were certain things in the article that I was like, well, wait a minute. Now I'm confused, because anybody who's in the industry knows that there are long hours involved with the production. So yeah, there you go. All right. I just don't know necessarily the best way to get people to come to the table is to say, go fuck yourself. I know, sure, that's the best tactic to take there, Jeff, in my opinion. Jeff, let's wrap up here in the next couple of minutes. MI7 reviews, a lot of positive reviews. There were some people who didn't 100% like it, but certainly overall, overwhelming positive reviews. It debuts, or it drops on Wednesday, coming up Wednesday. What are your thoughts here? Did you get a chance to see it? Do you have any mini review for us?
I will be writing a review for our LA Mag. Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
It's been a while. Los Angeles, and there was a little check. So I will continue to write for LA Mag, and hopefully we'll have a review up next week of that movie. I thought it was very good. I do think it had some flaws. And I don't think it's as good as Fallout.
Yeah, I really liked it because it went dark, and darker than I've ever seen any of the films go, in my opinion. And the villain, so to speak, was a really good, the way they constructed it. I like that. I do think there are sections of the film, small sections of the film, where it becomes a little bit like, what's going on here? Why is everyone so flippant when the scene before you all were totally fucking scared about what was going to happen? So there's some inconsistencies in tone in certain sections of the film, but overall I effing loved it, so I can see the flaws, but I still effing loved it.
It's very good. Again, compared to everything else in theaters, like it's like night and day. Like, this is how you make a movie.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't want to call it the perfect summer movie, because I thought, frankly, that like Top Gun Maverick was something like that. But this summer, it's the perfect summer movie for this summer.
And that train sequence, as Jeff pitched me on the show a week or two ago, man, he was right. It 100% was worth it. It was incredible. And that's
I look forward to sharing my thoughts next week. Please click on the article so that LA Mag will have me back.
There you go. Anything you want to bring up? I've got a couple things, but anything you want to bring up?
No, I'm good. I mean, we're almost at an hour and a half, so if there's anything you want to get off your chest, let's do it now.
No, I think we talked about everything. Oh, yeah. Rebecca Romijn made some comments. She was cornered about Bryan Singer, and they were asking her why she wasn't more vocal about the situation. And her response was basically, all the other people were talking about it. I didn't feel I needed to dive into this. I thought I saw all the mistakes or the flaws and the issues, but I also think he's a fantastic filmmaker. Do you think Rebecca is being political here? Because, she's on that show, Strange New Worlds. Do you think she's making the right commentary? Remember, she was a young actress coming into that situation from being a model. So do you think she's just playing the business?
I gotta quote Jane Addams here. You're not listening. Like, she basically said, this guy had his issues in his personal life, but as a filmmaker, he was really talented. And, it sounded like she had a altogether positive experience working with him.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there are a lot of people who will attest to that. Obviously, you know, there are people who can separate someone's personal life from the work, and there's others who can't.
Right. Fair point. And both are valid in their own way.
Right. But it's like, yeah, we gotta. I don't need to question her motives and whether she's being political. I feel like his career is kind of over, so she would have no reason to censor herself or whatever. Maybe this is how she feels. Yeah,
she may just be one of these people that doesn't like to dive into this stuff or pile on, or and that's her right, for sure. Real quick, let's finish off some super chats and we'll get out of here. Brian Brawler says, "What the hell does a diversity coordinator do?"
Ask one. There's 7 of them who just left, so they've got plenty of time to answer your DMs and your tweets.
That's true, Brian. That's true. Basically, just making sure if a project that a project has diversity in it or calls for diversity, that the correct diversity is represented.
If there's room to improve the diversity of something, they'll take a look at it. Sure,
exactly. I should get hired in that job. Justin Todd says, in honor of Alan Arkin, I picked him up in The In-Laws with Peter Falk from Criterion Collection with a 50% off sale going on. Serpentine, R.I.P. Yeah, I love that film. The In-Laws was great. The remake was terrible, but the original with Peter Falk and Alan Arkin was great. Jeff, have you seen that? Probably not. It's a little before your time.
I don't know if I ever did. I think I've seen clips of it, scenes, but never saw the whole thing.
Come on. The Cali Kid says a Nolan 007 movie with Hank Cavill will make $1.5 billion. Yeah. A lot of people now are starting to push Henry Cavill, dude, to be James Bond. It's a little past the time, don't you think?
I don't know. Not necessarily.
All right.
I mean, again, look at the majority of like movie stars and actors. They're mostly still like 50. It's still guys like Brad Pitt and Leo. Yeah, so if Cavil's 39, why can't he spend the next decade as Bond?
Yeah. Speaking of Leo, did you like the new Killers of the Flower Moon trailer? Real quick.
Looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, dude. Fucking hell. And one last one. Purple Funk says, loving Hijack. Thanks for the recommendation. I'm sure that's to Jeff. Jeff,
everyone I've recommended this show to is thank me for this.
Yeah, I'm watching it this weekend. I finally talked the Lady Outlaw into it, so because she's got a huge...
Succession. It's not Succession. No, it's just entertaining as fuck.
Fair enough. Yeah, Homo says Rocha. Homo Erectus says Rocha would be a great diversity coordinator and Sneider would be a great intimacy coordinator.
Do they let straight men be intimacy coordinators?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. All right. I think that's everything. Oh, one last super StreamLab. Jeff, what did you think of the season finale of The Idol? It was wild. So that's Jeff. Last word here. What are your thoughts, real quick?
I thought it was fine. I mean, it showed that this guy is a loser in a way, but he's talented. Like he put on that showcase. All these people were acts that he developed and found and nurtured. And he sort of had this vision. And even though he's like a fucking weirdo and like, took it one step too far and started drinking his own Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
He clearly knows what he's doing. And I think it's probably in her best interest to keep him around. Plus they had, she seemed to enjoy the sex. They had good sexual chemistry. Whether you want to judge the sex or not, she seemed to be having a grand old time.
Fair enough. Haskell wants to know, is Joey Pickles going to be in the new movie? Who's Joey Pickles? What is Joey Pickles?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Children, what are you doing, Eddie? Get out.
I did see 80 for Brady on the plane yesterday, John. Just the greatest ending ever. I'm going to spoil it for you. Tom Brady wins the fucking Super Bowl. Woo! Best movie ever, baby. Woo!
Which one? He's won so many. I just watched the America's game on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What is happening?
I don't know. Some kids are playing around with Joey Pickles. All right. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it madly here on the Hot Mic. We had almost 500 of you joining us for a majority of the show. As we're wrapping, please remember to subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the content we do here. A lot of stuff going on this weekend as well here on the channel. So look out for some reviews and some commentary here on the channel as well. Of course, the stuff that already dropped this week here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Very, very proud of all of that. Jeff, another fun show, brother. Thanks for so much for taking time on a Friday afternoon to do this. I know you just got off a plane earlier today, so I appreciate it madly. Please let people know where they can find you and what you got going on, my man.
The Sneider on Twitter, beware, abovetheline.com. That's right. Follow us on Instagram, folks. We could use some more followers and Twitter too, for that matter. And then lamag.com, the website for Los Angeles Mag.
There you go. There you go. As for me, at the Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, the Outlaw Nation on Twitch. And as I said already, please subscribe down below. And my podcast, The Cinephiles, the Geek Buddies. And of course, this is in podcast as well. If you want to re-listen to anything we talked about today, you don't want to see our pretty faces, don't want to go on a YouTube app, wherever you download podcasts, you can download the Hot Mic and subscribe to it. We'd appreciate it, madly. All right. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a great rest of your week, or have a great weekend. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the Hot Mic. Peace.
Great weekend, Joe and Pickle!